Brian is 17 years old. He is a member of our community. He was brought up in the community, was born in the community. He's a friend of the children of the community. They know each other very well. All of them have gone to nursery school together. They've gone through reception. They've gone through first stage. But something happened to Brian at the end of first stage. He got ill. He had the flu when this dreadful flu was going around 1 year. And he went into hospital. Brian seemed to have gotten better physically. And he was out of school for quite a few weeks, turning into months. But when he went back to school, he just didn't bother with anybody. He was off in his own little world. He didn't want to interact with anyone. The people who knew him, his friends, he didn't seem to want to bother with them anymore. His teacher, no matter how the teacher tried to draw him out, he wasn't interested. And the teacher really got worried, got his mother in, spoke to her, tried to find out what was happening at home with Brian. She had noticed it as well because he wasn't interacting with his siblings either. And so she was worried. She had taken him back to the doctor, but everybody felt that maybe the illness, he would get over it in time. But Brian became more withdrawn. He didn't get over it. He just, he got angry, he started to become really aggressive with his siblings, aggressive in school. He really wanted to be just left alone. And you know, in a school setting, this just doesn't happen. You don't get left alone. In time, this leaving alone syndrome, if you like, became so evident that the other children began to leave him alone. He drifted off and got in with another group of children. And at this point, Brian wasn't reading. He hadn't been reading when he left Key Stage 1 or the first grade. And he was still not reading. And no, he really didn't want to get into books. He didn't want to read. He started coming out of himself, but in a very aggressive manner, so that he actually found a new set of friends. And they began to be little boys of terror, really. They thought it was fun to do things like lock you in the locker or knock you down and just run and make a lot of noise in the corridor. A lot of noise in class. They'd ask questions and then would laugh and thought it was really, really funny. This went on for quite a period of time. He went from class to class, getting older, still not reading, getting much more aggressive, still not complying with any of the rules anywhere. Parents could not control him, especially his mother. He got really angry if his father tried to interfere. And unfortunately, his father backed out and just left him alone. He and his friends became much more of a problem. He started to skip school so that he was a truant. The authorities began to crack down on him. Truant officer, in time, he got to the point where he was stealing. He and his friends were stealing from local shops. So the police got involved. And all this time, this poor mother is trying to get something happening for him in the school, either because they were calling her in so much, or because she became so worried he wasn't doing any homework, he didn't think he should, he isolated himself when he was at home, he didn't want to sit with the family, didn't want to be around them. Brian's problems escalated to to the point that the police really got involved. He was before the courts, and this involvement, even the courts didn't seem to stop him. It just further escalated, and of course he was now in a gang. He was a gang member. They wore the colors of their gang. They dressed alike. They became problems not just in the school, but problems within the community as well. Brian left what we'd call the primary section, and he went into secondary school. But this problem did not cease. Brian could not read even when he went to secondary. And nobody in secondary school had the time to sit and teach him reading from the base up. At least he didn't seem to think that he needed it, and he went on like that. His pals, he became kind of the leader of the gang, and everybody looked up to him. So being a big man, he wanted to show that he was a big man. He didn't need to read. He could do the things he wanted to do. He was very good and very skilled at doing those things. And this heightened till he was put out of school. He was about 14, and they just said, enough is enough. I think Brian's mother knew that Brian was going to have to go out of school. And she kind of wondered how they had managed to hold on to him so long. And people also felt that she was trying her best, so they were going to give him as much leeway as possible. But it became so bad that he had to leave. He was expelled.